Welcome to Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. I am your host, Captain Matt, and we have another pontoon review for you. This is the South Bay 222 RSLE. Let's take a look at the numbers. This boat the deck is 20 feet 5 inches. The beam is 8'6". It has a maximum horsepower of 115. This is a pontoon, not a tri-toon. That's why the 115 is the max. The dry weight, 1,915. Fuel capacity, 27 gallons. It has the 25-inch diameter tunes, which is sort of the industry standard now. The tube gauge, .09 mils. I believe that's correct. I was not able to find this information on their website or anywhere, but I believe that's what it is from my research. And I would put the South Bay line in the mid-level, with the 222 being their entry-level model. So let's take a look at the history. They started building pontoons in 2006. They're owned by Forest River Marine, that also builds Berkshire and Trifecta pontoons. Now, based on my inspection of boats at boat shows throughout the years, I do not believe there's much difference between any of these three brands. I believe they use a lot of the same components, the same layout, same materials, same building process, and they put a different brand on them and give them a different moniker. I'm not 100% certain that that's the case, but I think it is really, really close, if not right on the money from my inspection, but I haven't been to the factories to see that for myself. Now, Forest River also owns a lot of RV brands: Coachman, Dynamax, Forest River RV, Palomino, Shasta, East to West, and Primetime RVs. They do fifth wheels and pull behinds and Class A's, I think are the right terminology. And they were acquired. Forest River was acquired by Berkshire Hathaway in 2005. The Warren Buffett, the investor, acquired them, and a year later they began building pontoons. And they are built in Indiana, where most aluminum products like RVs and pontoons are made. Now, some highlights on the warranty: they don't have a lot of information on the warranty out there on their websites, but they do, from my research, have a limited lifetime structural warranty. That's from the decking down, the decking, the risers, the cross members, and the pontoons. A 5-year limited warranty on the flooring and the vinyl, on the bimini top fabric, and the component parts. And it excludes those that have a separate warranty from the part manufacturer. So if the stereo manufacturer has a warranty, then South Bay does not warranty that product. And they do have a saltwater corrosion exclusion. So if you have any damage due to saltwater corrosion, they have said, hey, that is unusual wear and tear, and they're not responsible for that. Which I thought was interesting that they laid that out specifically. So this is the actual boat that I inspected. You can see it's a 22. It had a 115 Suzuki on it, and some of the options. We'll take a look at the pricing towards the end of the video. So this is the actual boat that was at the show that I boarded and inspected. These are the standard features that the 222 RSLE has on them, and this is the layout. I love this layout of a pontoon for a lot of families. If you're not into fishing, you just like having the lounge. I like the twin high back captain's chairs. It gives a nice conversation between the two if there's just two people on the boat. Otherwise, with the L-shaped seating, some of the other lounge seats, you leave the captain kind of out of the mix. And you've got your two front couches. The one here on the port side does not have the backrest, which means that this person can't lounge out. They've got to sit up, which, on a 20-foot boat, just over 20 feet. You know, you don't really have a ton of room to make that work. Let's take a little bit look closer up. In the rear, you've got the center walkthrough, and you've got the 2 lounge seats back there that also are bench seats, so you can actually sit on them or lounge out. And again, the 2 captain's chairs, which I think is a fantastic option for the layout. And again, a little better look at the rear-facing lounge seats. You see that center walkthrough with the ski tow bar, the access that's going to give you access to some of the wiring and the shift cables, and then you have your spot for your table. So let's take a look at the upholstery here. This is the way I like to look at upholstery. Okay. Just kind of squeeze it, pinch it.
Have you had good success with them? Or?
Feel how thick that is. You see, I'm kind of talking to the sales guy as I'm doing this, but a nice double stitching. You can see those seams were pretty tight together. You've got a little textured upholstery to give it some accent, and it's a good looking upholstery, pretty high quality in my opinion. Now, again, if you look, that's where I like to sort of pull those seams apart and just see how they pull, and that's the textured material right there. Now, this is one of the seats here, and I always like to look at the hinges. These are, if you've watched more than one of these pontoon reviews, there are about 50 of them out there that we did in this year alone. You can see that these are similar hinges, that almost everybody is using the same hinges. A lot of people are getting the seats and everything from the same place as well. And then one thing that they do that I do like on this is they protect that speaker. So this is the speaker facing out into the cockpit, and that little covering is going to protect that speaker, protect the wires so they don't get pulled out when you've got your gear in there, your life jackets, your dock lines, your the cup hold, removable cup holders, and the table leg. All of that is nice. Another shot of a hinge here. You can see a full-length piano hinge across that seat, and that rotomold plastic seat base is again what most people are using. And I always like to check those screws. How well are they attached? Are they screwed through, or how are they affixed on the underside? If you can reach your hand around there and see how they're done. This is the table leg. It mounts in there, and I believe it spins. Once you get that little nub in there, it's going to spin and it'll lock into place. And it's pretty nice. I always like to look for, is that going to be a toe stubber? Is that something that's going to catch a little toe and ruin a nice day on the water? And that one looks pretty good. This is the helm. You can see it's a fiberglass helm with a pretty good look and some nice lines. You've got a Hummingbird electronics here, your speedometer with hour meter, your RPM gauge, your tachometer, fuel, trim gauge. Here's your hour meter right up here, a cigarette lighter, your switches for your horn, your navigation, your anchor light, and the other lights, and then you've got your kicker stereo head system there. And this was not a tilt steering wheel, just a regular steering wheel, and a little spot to, I guess, put your phone in there on that. That might have been a charger, if I remember right. Your cup holder, and then your throttle controls right there. So a pretty nice helm station, and this opens up towards the seat, but there's a little cubby in there, which is nice to have that. This is under the console right here. You have a little bit of storage. A lot of them enter from the side where you can enter a cooler in, but this one gives you the door here and gives you access that way. The boat's rated for 11 people, 1,500 pounds, and remember, that is whichever comes first. So 11 people that weigh 100 pounds, you're at your capacity, or 7 people that are just over 200 pounds and you're at your capacity. And you can see it's rated for 115 with this boat. You can check out the U.S. Boat Expo. It's got some great interviews, some great content at usboatexpo.com. This is the ladder, a nice 4-step stainless steel ladder. You can see that it's got that little holder there, which is nice. It keeps it up and keeps it from rattling around. The ski tow bar, you can see that angle to it. It was a nice sharp bar. You've got the 4 points of contact, so as you're pulling people with the 115, you've got a pretty sturdy tow bar there. I believe this one was not rated, though, to pull tubes. Most manufacturers are going to say don't pull a tube with this tow bar. It just doesn't have the strength. Now, one thing that South Bay does that I do like are their nose cones are a little bit longer than the traditional 48 inches. These are 52-inch nose cones, which means that you just have a little bit sharper angle of attack on that front section, which means that you're going to slice through the water a little bit more. They do stick out just a touch longer than the actual deck on this model. Not a huge deal in my opinion. But it is worth noting. Now, you'll notice this splash guard here. It's not real big, although it's a longer nose cone. This splash guard isn't as big as many of them that you'll see. It's spot welded, which is pretty decent, but you don't have any finishing edge, although that looks like a pretty nice edge on this splash weld. The concern there is that it gets nicked, and then you have a little kid grabs it as they're swimming around by the boat and cut their finger. So I do like to see some sort of an edge around there just to protect that. But overall, not bad on the nose cone. You've got your built-in fuel cell, which is just built into that engine well right here on the transom. And again, you can see how that ski tow bar is mounted to the decking. And then I always like to look at how thick and heavy duty is that engine pod. You can see a reasonably thick piece of aluminum that's been bent out. The welds look really nice on that. A good looking weld on that engine compartment, which is what I want to see. That's where most of your torque and the stress is going to be on the boat. My family has a 22-foot South Bay tri-toon, and on this engine compartment, it is I want to say it's a 2013, and we're starting to see some cracking on this engine well. It's been run on a really rough lake, and so it's taken a pounding, but you're starting to see some cracking there, which is worrisome and something that needs to be addressed. Now the cleat, I do like, although this is a little bit smaller cleat, it does have 4 points of contact, and it's mounted through this finish piece here, this rub rail piece, and mounted back through the bottom of the deck. And I really like this. Not only does it have those 4 points of contact, but you also have this full aluminum plate to backplate it so that you're not gonna pull that out. It's nice and solid, and you can see it's also, not only is that rub rail on top, so it's through the rub rail. These front two pieces are through the bottom section of that rub rail, and then through that aluminum plate, and then the other two through the composite material, which we'll talk about here shortly, and with their nylon locking nuts. So that's a great way to build a cleat. Now, they are using this composite decking. It is, they're say 40% lighter, 2 times stronger than the standard marine grade plywood. Now, most manufacturers are giving a limited lifetime warranty on their plywood. The marine grade plywood that's used today is rock solid. Very, very seldom do you see an issue with the marine grade plywood, the way it's treated. But South Bay was the South Bay sales guy was really pushing this composite decking, kind of like Veranda pushes their aluminum decking. You know, that eliminates deck rot and mold. It's lighter, it's stronger. It's one-piece construction, which I think that is an advantage for you don't have seams for water to shoot through. It's going to give it a little bit more rigidity. So it sounds like a good thing. They've only been using it. They started using it in 2018. Here's my concern. Anytime a boat manufacturer starts to do something new, the first year or two, they're still working the kinks out. They don't know what the warranty issues are going to be. They haven't tested it for a long period of time in a lot of adverse conditions that people will be running it. Now, the company that makes this stuff, it looks like they've been making it for a while. They're using it a lot in the RV industry. It doesn't doesn't hold any moisture, which is their big thing. Everything about the South Bay up to this point has been really strong. I've really liked the way they're building the boats, but this composite decking, jury is still out in my mind. I never like to be the person buying a boat that's buying the first or second generation or the first or second year of a new thing. Just they don't build enough. There's not enough testing in most cases. So I'll leave it at that. The jury for me is still out on this composite decking. Hopefully it means great things. Somebody's got to be the first one to test it. But personally, it's not going to be me. But if you look, because they have that composite decking, you can see they use a through bolt through that composite decking with a washer. Because you're not going to be able to tap into it like you would with plywood and use any type of screws into that material from what I gather. But the real reason I want to show this picture is because of the bracket. So the way a pontoon is built, you have the pontoon, and then you have an M bracket, which is kind of shaped like an M. So it goes up here, comes down in the middle, goes up, and then back down to the other side of the tune. And then the cross members are mounted to that, and then the decking is on top of that, and they will bolt through the decking, the cross member, and that M bracket with that M bracket welded to the tune, okay? So that's how it's built. What you want, in my mind, is a full-length M bracket all the way down. You can see that this M bracket is going a majority of the way down, and I'm shooting from the rear of the boat up to the bow. And you can see as they get to the bow of the boat, they're not using that full-length piece anymore. They're just using spaced M brackets all the way down. So, it's with the composite decking, maybe there's a reason they're doing that. They don't need it up front in the bow. But in my mind, it's not as strong. It has the ability to flex, which flex is not a great thing when you're looking at a pontoon. A little is okay, but too much is going to be a problem. So that's how they build it. Just so you know, if you're looking at a boat with aluminum skin in that third pontoon, you really have to kind of look in there, get a flashlight, ask questions, and then verify that the salesperson's giving you the correct answer. So check that out. That's how I see South Bay has done it on this particular model, and I was surprised they didn't do it all the way down the line with their M bracket. Now, you can check this out, Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon Toolkit. You can grab a free copy at Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon Toolkit. You can also get it as a bonus at the U.S. Boat Expo at usboatexpo.com, the ownership calculator as well. And looking at this boat, so with the 115, this 222 RSLE, the MSRP was $41,154.60, that yellow arrow there, and then the total with the discount at the show was $39,000. So that was the price at the show, just over $300 a month with their approved credit, and they're saying that price is based on financing with the dealer. So that was interesting that you have to finance with the dealer to get that price so that they can make the money on the financing. if you're financing your boat, we've got a great video on that you'll want to check out. So that's the South Bay review. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy the boat reviews, hit subscribe. We're doing new ones all the time. I've got a bunch more that are going to be coming out. Grab that free toolkit or just go to usboatexpo.com and check out that expo. It's an amazing event. YouTube has put together some videos that they think you might like. And again, mash that like button if you found this valuable. It helps other people find the video so that they can avoid any issues and know exactly what they're buying. Thanks for watching, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.